After we have activated the simulator program, we can download the hardware to the CPU. After completing the configuration, the first thing we must always do is save it. There are two options here in the toolbar to save the configuration: Save and Save and Compile. The difference between these two options is that the Save option only saves the hardware, whereas Save and Compile performs a consistency check in addition to saving it. This option also checks the modules we have placed in here to see if they match up to this specific CPU or not, and if it finds a problem in the hardware, it will let us know about it. Now select this Save and Compile option, and you can see that the configuration is saved with no problems. You can see that there are two other icons here on the toolbar. One icon shows an arrow, which points towards the PLC, and the other shows an arrow pointing away from the PLC. The first icon is an option to download data to the PLC, and the second icon is for uploading data. So by using this first option, we can transfer data to the PLC, and we can use the second option to transfer data from the PLC to the computer. So to download the configuration, click on the download icon. When you click on this icon, the Select Target Module window opens up. This section displays all of the CPUs in the network, and next, we need to select the module that we want to operate the download. Now, as we're not discussing networks and we only have one CPU, there's only one module displayed, and this shows us that it's on the second slot of rack 0. So now, select the module here and click OK. Next, the Select Node Address window opens up and asks us to select the MPI address of the CPU module. To do this, hit this View button so that all the facilities in the network are displayed, and you can select the MPI address of the desired module. As you can see, only one module is displayed in the box because we only have one CPU. You can see that the default address of the module is 2. So go ahead and select the desired MPI address, like this. Then click OK. Clicking OK opens this window, and the message tells us that a hardware download will make the module enter stop mode, bringing it to a halt. We are asked, do you still want to do that? So why is it asking this question? Well, because we could possibly be attempting to download the hardware at a time when the CPU is operating and controlling a process. If this is the case, you should be aware that if the CPU is in run mode, when you download the hardware, the module will go into stop mode, bringing a halt to the whole control process. Depending on the specific process that the CPU is controlling, bringing it to a halt could have catastrophic results. So whenever you are downloading hardware to a CPU that is running, it's important to remember that it will be switched into stop mode, so you should consider all possible outcomes first. As we are currently using a simulator, obviously, there will be no problem if the CPU goes into stop mode. So when we OK this message, you can see that the hardware is downloaded to the CPU, which then shifts from run mode to stop mode. Now the download is complete, and we are asked if we want to run the CPU again. We say yes, and as you can see, it goes back into run mode, and the green Run LED light turns on again. So now you know how to download hardware to the PLC. Now let's go over the steps that we took to do this together once again. After configuring the hardware, always remember to save the configuration first. Next, to download, click on this Download to Module icon, and then select the desired CPU in here. In the next window, click View and select the MPI address of the CPU module. Then we are told that the download will cause the module to go into stop mode. We say OK, no problem, and as a result, the download is completed. Finally, we are asked if we want to run the CPU again, and we say yes, so that the CPU goes into run mode again. Now the hardware is downloaded to the CPU, and it can easily recognize the modules we have put aside and connect to them. In the next lesson, we will familiarize ourselves with the different sections of the programming environment.